You are in Hyphens Haven, the space for multi-hyphenate artists who work on stage and off in front of the camera and behind the scenes. We share our path to becoming who we are, and this episode is centered on them papers. Not just some any type of papers, but our contracts. For many artists, the creative process is the easy part. I know for me, navigating through a production from ground zero was cool with me, but it's the business side of this industry that can be overwhelming. So, contracts, negotiations, and the often imitating process of demanding fair pay is a daunting challenge. Yet these skills are crucial for all of us in the creative fields who want to sustain a career, who want to thrive financially. So, we'll explore how we as artists can confidently navigate the business of creativity, ensuring that we're fairly compensated and safeguarding our rights. This is the business of creativity. So, as a film producer, contracts are how I operate my business. But now I'm in a different space. In 2014, in October of 2014, I negotiated my first distribution contract. But before I had it signed, I had to have a firm grasp on my values as an artist. I had to understand my worth and my why, and I am worthy of all. So, allow me to share 4 tips with you of how you can feel worthy for your pay. Number one, research the standards, right? Familiarize yourself with the average rate and get that standard in your spirit. Number two, assemble your portfolio. Showcase those testimonials. Fortunately, my father was able to record several responses from the audience after they viewed my film, and I can add that to the portfolio of how they made how the story made them feel, and there were some powerful responses. So I know that I'm on the right track as I prepare for global distribution, right? Number three, artists. Us, I'm talking to me. I need to update it. But we all need to adopt a business mindset. Jay-Z said it best. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. So treat your art as a product or service with a clear value proposition. And I actually have a book I can recommend to you. It's called Business Model Generation by Alexander Osterwalder. Thanks to being in our Village United for that book. Number four, you got to get over this imposter syndrome, right? And I'm speaking to you as well as myself. We got to remind ourselves of our achievements and the time, effort, and resources that we've invested in honing our craft, right? We have to surround ourselves with a supportive community of fellow creatives who validate our worth. And actually, I am actually looking at opening a space for creatives this year for that very reason. So now that we've taken in those few steps to help us feel worthy, let's navigate a contract, right? Because they are our best friend. They protect our rights, they clarify expectations, and ensure we're paid fairly. For contracts signed by artists who work on the Dream of Drea, for instance, or if I'm collaborating with someone, there are 6 elements that need to be on paper. Number one, you got to see the scope of work. You got to be able to clearly define what's expected of you or what's written. The person who wants to work with you is clearly laid it all out, because ambiguity can lead to scope creep, which is a project management term. And this is when people start demanding more than what you initially agreed upon. So let's lay it all out. Okay, that needs to be on that paper. Number two, payment terms. The amount needs to be specified. the payment schedule and method of how you're getting paid. Are you going to be a 1099 employee, or and you're going to have a bank deposit from that production company? Is that company going to do a Zelle transfer or PayPal or whatnot? And when is it coming? Is it coming like 50% upfront or some fraction upfront? Or is it going to be a weekly payouts depending on how long you're working, balance upon completion? Those payment terms need to be crystal clear. And you can also have or request that production company to have a late payment clause, and that will ensure that you get your money on time. Because me as a production company owner, I don't want any penalties. I like to have all payments sent immediately. I can proudly say that I'm not late in that regard. Number three, deadlines. There should be a clause for deadlines. So if you are, particularly if you're a visual artist too, if you have project milestones in there, your outline should be included, and there should be a statement that describes the delivery. Like working with my editor, we had to figure out, okay, he's done all of the work on his computer. So how do we get those files off his computer onto my system or hard drive, or uploading it? I have a Synology that I use that person can upload files onto, but you should have a way to have that project delivered if you're someone who's working from their computer. Number four, ownership rights. So producers, make sure you state uh, who owns this project that's being created. You know, who has it. I mean, unless you're transferring the rights to someone or if there's a license fee, you want to lay out who owns what's being created. If I'm having a logo for my film, and shout out to Jeffrey Crowell, who I interviewed previously on Hyphens Haven. How if this is the title, but who owns it? And just make sure that that's clear before you sign a contract. Um, Number five, termination clause. These are conditions that are outlined under which the contract can be terminated by either party, and this is where I failed. I had this fake artist, and I'm gonna call her fake because that's what she is, bamboozled me out of a nice sum of cash. I did not have a termination clause. I lost money. So it is imperative that there should be a termination clause in that contract from now on out. That was a lesson learned. Had to write that out. Never again will I work with that artist. Number six, a revisions policy. So this is when an artist, again, going to those um, visual artists or even editors or music or whatnot, you want to set limits on the number of revisions included in your fee. So if I'm reaching out to a music editor, I receive the file, I don't like it, the artist goes back and work on it, and we go back and forth for a while. No, when's the cutoff? How many revisions are there before you say, hey, we've met our end of that clause, right? So those are six ways, six clauses that should be included in your contract. Again, the scope of work, the payment terms, your deadlines, ownership rights, termination clause, and revision policy. And I got to shout out my lawyer, Khalik Muhammad, who is involved on every one of my contracts now. That loss to that fake artist was a wake-up call. So he is on my speed dial. And I interviewed him as well. Please look him up, Khalik Muhammad of Muhammad Law Group, one of the best lawyers ever. And we went to Georgia Tech together. So it helps, right? To be in that circle of friends. Verbal agreements are difficult, right? So I would highly suggest that if you can't reach out to a lawyer, stay away from verbal agreements. Everything needs to be written, even the small projects. It needs to be on a paper some way. Make sure you read everything, right? So now, negotiation. It's a skill that every artist must master, whether you're discussing payment, deadlines, or project scope. Effective negotiation ensures you're being treated fairly and compensated appropriately. So here are a few tips that I have. Do your homework. Look up this person, look up this company that you want to do business with. Try to get an angle on their budget, right? Start high, but be reasonable. Quote a rate slightly higher than your minimum acceptable pay, and this leaves room for uh, compromise while you're ensuring that you won't undersell yourself. So don't be an actor that you just coming out of working in community theater and you're asking for these rates as if you're Academy Award winning actor. So just slightly higher if you have space to negotiate with that production company. Highlight in bright colors your value. With that slighter higher rate that you give, you want to emphasize the quality, your uniqueness, and benefits of your work. Show the client why you're worth the investment. Be assertive, not aggressive. Remain respectful, professional, and avoid ultimatums because that is one way, quick way that I'm out of the deal. Okay. Silence can be a tool of negotiation. So don't fear it. Don't get angry. And if you feel impatient, just start focusing on something else. So after you state your terms, pause and let them respond, right? And if too long of a pause happens or it just goes south, be prepared to walk away. Know your boundaries and stick to them. Know your boundaries and stick to them. If a client refuses to meet your terms, it's better to walk away than to settle for less than what you're worth. All right, so let's circle back to that entertainment lawyer. There are some battles that need professional help, even if you're working on a small project. Some fights you need help, especially to avoid making costly mistakes like I did. And I have a few ways that you can search for lawyers through a few resources. I have about 6 here for you. So New Yorkers, particularly volunteer lawyers for the arts. They are the leading education and sports organization. So volunteer lawyers for the arts. American Bar Association. So if you can go to their website, go to the ABA groups tab, then go to the Entertainment and Sports Industry League. You can scroll down to ABA communities and get connected to the American Bar Association if you're looking for an entertainment lawyer. Then there's the Freelancers Union. Click on the resources. They have a first-time freelancers guide to taxes, which is a podcast episode in of itself. Actually, that is a pretty good podcast episode. Look into that. But Freelancers Union is another way you can go and find an entertainment lawyer. AVO, it's AVVO, AVVO. So I went to their website. So what you could do is type in entertainment or sports or whatever industry you're looking for, and a few hundred will pop up. I went to that tab, typed in just entertainment for Georgia, and about at least 600 lawyers populated on that page. And I'm saving this for the last. Lawyers for the Creative Arts. This is a site. They offer free or low-cost legal services to artists. Select the tab for artists, then select legal services and apply for help, right? And just some final thoughts, because the business of creativity doesn't have to be intimidating, but understanding your worth, mastering the art of negotiation, and safeguarding your rights through contracts, you can thrive in the creative industry. Remember, your talent deserves respect and fair compensation. So take the time to equip yourself with the knowledge and tools necessary to navigate the business side of your craft with confidence. So now it's time to put these strategies to work. Advocate for your worth, protect your work, and build a sustainable and rewarding creative career. If this podcast has helped you in any way, please share. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Hyphens Haven on this podcast platform, as well as Dream of Drea across all social media platforms. I'm Drea, and until next time, know that wherever you are, right now is the perfect time to act on your dreams. Take care, everybody.